Now, the first part of your question is, this is an upgrade to an existing system. We're basically going to a new version of this product, and with that upgrade, we'll have additional capabilities, and as with all versions, they do have some bugs that need to be fixed. This version will have corrections for those bugs. As far as overloading our system, thanks to the board and prior approvals, we have scaled the system to meet the needs for the next 2 to 3 years with the additional purchases that have been made. Based on our current utilization, we have been very pleased that with your approval we were able to increase the size of the disk drives and get faster disk drives and the size of the memories. So at this point we're in great shape.
One question, Don, kind of off topic, but and I won't throw you under the bus if you don't know the answer. But I've heard, or we've talked, I think, about upgrades to New World for dispatch, or Aegis or New World. Is that something that's still coming down the road, or if you know about it? If you don't, then that's fine.
Yes, we've had some preliminary discussions about that. Basically, we've looked at the technical specifications for the new version of the product. We've not had any formal discussions with 911 or the Sheriff's Department at this point.
So there's no hard date coming up for us that we need to be concerned about? Because I do have concerns about that, going to that upgrade, and I think there's other alternatives, but I don't want to be surprised by a date that we're told that we have to do it now.
I'm not aware of any date.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. You have in front of you a request to replace the west roof at the North Lawn building.
Rick, I did read through the proposal and I'm supportive of it, but it sounds like it is I guess a major repair job versus minor repairs that we've been doing, but is it enough? I mean, should we be looking at something different with the roof there, like a complete replacement of it, or is that too costly? Or
Well, this year we'll be replacing just the west side of it, and then for next year we put money in to replace the east side. The biggest challenge with this roof is dealing with all the clay tiles that surround it. We're still working through that process, as we've had challenges finding a contractor that could handle that. It's still intact, it's just I would like to get that portion of the roof taken care of in the next year or two as well.
Rick, is this causing any internal leaks?
Only when the wind is coming out of the northeast, we've had issues.
I see it was already a budgeted item.
With rubber roofs, it's hard to tell when they're going to fail. We just go by the amount of years the roof's been in place and schedule from that. Unfortunately, with this, it was in decent enough shape, but then this year, it just had a lot of issues. So I'm glad we had the money in the budget for it.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Need a motion and support? We have a motion and support. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the same. Passes unanimously. Next up, we have the final phase of the chimney restoration.
Yes, Mr. Chair, in front of you, we have a proposal from Empire Solutions to finish up the restoration of the flue chamber here at the tower. And this should do it.
Commissioner Rice.
Yep. Nope, good question, Carl. And that's why the first phase of this operation was actually sending a person down through the chimney. He did a physical inspection. There's no way you could get me to do it, but this guy was lowered from the top all the way down into the bottom of the chimney and was able to inspect it up close and personal. The majority of the chimney itself is in great condition. It was just we lost about 20 feet at the top and 10 feet at the bottom. And so what they recommended and our research supported was coating the remaining insulation panels with a high-temperature mastic would keep them from coming loose again. And also at the top and at the bottom, we coated the bare steel with that mastic as well, just to keep it from getting any worse. So we're good for, I hope, another 88 years.
Commissioner Elwell.
Rick, it's furnace season right now. How are they going to fit it in with the season being what it is? They going to be able to do it?
Yes.
Okay.
Rick, I want to also thank you. You did have a dramatic rescue this past summer within the chimney, and my understanding is that you're also fitting the top of it to protect us from other in-flight injuries.
That is correct, Mr. Chair, and that's already been taken care of. Yep. No more in-flight injuries. Correct. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We're presenting the monthly financial statements through September. So our budget benchmark is 75%, three-year average 73.9, actual year-to-date expenditures 74, so we're just a tad above the average. Three-year average for revenue, however, is 69.9. Our actual is 67.4, so we're a little behind the pace there. In terms of what's been collected, we are, if you look at the chart, we are receiving, September is the highest month when we receive the property tax revenues for the year. So I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have. Yeah.
Jim, on page 2 of the 6 pages, it's the actual expenditures, and you've got in red the marine law enforcement at 280%. You've got a note that it's summer only. But the fact is that there's only 14,620 budgeted in total, and 41,000 has been spent. What does that matter if it's summer only or not?
Yeah, that was a comment earlier in the year, but yes, it would appear that we need to make budget amendments with respect to that grant, that the 14,620 was way under budget in terms of...
So did we not budget enough then? Is that...
That's correct. But also on the revenue side, let's take a look at that for a second.
What page is that on, if you have it?
Let's see, this is...
Look like page 4, probably. Okay.
So, yeah, it was 43,000 budgeted, so there's an issue with that, so we'll correct that next month.
Well, so it's really, 26 shy on one end and 9 shy on the revenue end?
Right,
So both ends are out of whack.
yes.
And is the revenue side on the marine, well, are both of these for actually marine law enforcement, including the revenue, or is that coming from school liaison officers, or is that a separate line
That's
here?
separate, should be separate.
Okay, yeah, I see that below there, and that's actually low as well, is it not?
On the revenue side, yes, there may be some reimbursement that has not been received. So if we look at, let's see, expenditure-wise, we're at 81%, but yet the revenue is less than that. So there's always a timing lag, depending on when that's billed out or when they receive the revenue.
Okay, and not to belabor the point, but going back up to page 2 on the school liaison program expenditures,
Yes.
I'm really puzzled by that because the note is there reflects school year, and yet we've spent 81% of it. Well, if it reflects the school year, it should be less, right? Because during the summer months, there's nobody working it.
Yeah, that's right, but if we understated the budget, so if we up the budget, then that percent will change to truly reflect what's been happening. So you'd have, theoretically, you'd only have 3 months, 3 summer months where there's no expenditures. Or, well, 2 months then.
Yeah, 2.5 months, right. But realistically, if you look at that line only for school liaison, it should be lower because of that. The expenditure's not higher. Well, what's the note then reflects the school year? What does that mean? What's the significance of that?
Yeah, I mean, the note, unfortunately, I put the note in there earlier in the year because of the activity in January would be part of the school year. So then what I should have done is looked at the budget as we went along and made the necessary changes.
And I don't expect you to have all the answers to the questions I'm throwing at you now, but I would like follow-up on the questions on both of those programs, the school liaison and the Marine. And if I could ask our administrator, I've asked several times before about contracts for school liaison. We are required to approve any contracts like that, and I think I've heard you say they're coming, but that's been quite some time. Are they coming or close or what?
Actually,
I hope I'm not sidetracking the conversation. It's all relevant to this budget.
no,
so-
not a problem at all. We just had some conversation about this, this last month. Between, Phil Curtis has been working with the Sheriff Direct on making those contracts work. And they're almost done. There was some differences between what they thought should be in a contract and what we thought should be in a contract. And they were looking for more a one-page letter of agreement, and our position is no, we need to treat it like any other contract. There needs to be clauses for liability and all those kind of things in there. And they're coming around. We'll have a contract here for the board soon.
And I trust you and the attorney and the sheriff to cover all those things. You are all smart people and you figure that out. And what I want to see work are the numbers, because they haven't been working by what I see every time we look at them, so.
Jim? Thanks for the monthly report, Jim. We have a budget adjustment here also for 2016.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this is year-end cleanup of mainly the general fund, but it also includes adjustments for the airport fund and also the equipment replacement fund. Basically, we're moving things around to reflect the activities for the year. The airport fund had additional rental revenue. The equipment replacement fund is a reclass of expenditures from one item to another to fit the needs of the IT department mainly. So be happy to answer any questions.
Questions? Discussion? If not, I need a motion and support to approve the budget adjustment. We have a motion and support. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the same. Passes unanimous. Thank you, Jim. Moving on, we're at item 5, other business. Need a motion to pay the claims. Motion and support. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the same. Passes unanimous. No other minutes. December reporting schedules, IT and the treasurer. We return to public comment. Still no public. Okay. Committee member comments. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, Board.